Very shy. Welcome to my alarm. It is the Rainy Day Mix. I hope wherever you at, you got your person that you love next to you, you got a blanket, some hot chocolate, coffee, something. Enjoy. Eric Benet, Squad Community, I appreciate you. Double tap, go ahead, follow me. I think Chi-Town appreciate you. I go live again at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Western. I gotta be this, so I gotta go. Thank y'all for cooking. That's the much that I was Rainy Day. I hope y'all feel the love wherever you at. Christina, I appreciate you. I appreciate Hi, Dr. Kelly. Good morning. How are you doing? I'm okay. Okay. Have been having some confusing things happen. So I'm just processing. My ex is doing a lot of reaching out to like my best friend, um, who she never reached out. My best friend is a female. She never reached out to her before our breakup. And now it's like a lot of checking in with her, reaching out, and I feel like it's to kind of stay in my orbit. And again, I think I told you that her mom is still following me like on my social media interacting. It's a lot of stuff. It's still confusing. Like I'm still blocked, but it's like, why are you orbiting around me? Well, because I'm trying to I want to make it work, but I can't make anything work with somebody that doesn't want to talk to me. So I have to move on, and it's just making it hard. Yeah. Yeah. No, just checking in with my best friend, but it's like she's never done that. They don't have that type of relationship. You know what I mean? And then Again, her best friends, everybody is acting like nothing has changed for me. Well, from what I see, I never really interacted like that with them on my day to day, but all over my social media, it's like, they're commenting on everything and acting like they don't know that anything has changed. And it's just, what I'm not doing is I'm not using that as a basis of her type of interaction, because when she says she wants to leave alone and block me, to me, I take them as, after their wishes. In the past, I would have gone the way around it. I would have gone to their job and bought them flowers or something like that. And this time, I'm really respecting what it is she's feeling, because I do want her to heal. And then also, I want to be able to heal and address the things that are going on. You know, and this back and forth. I have better days, I have days when I'm like, okay, man, we do it. And then there are days when it's like, my friend tells me, hey, she sent me a text last night. I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't agree. My friend, we were on a Bible study call right after the Bible study. And I said, hey, I told her, I was like, you did a good job. Said, thank you. She said, the girl, like, they should have sent me a text message, and I just didn't respond. Like, I didn't respond in this morning. I felt like, what is, I don't know, it's just, it has me all over the place mentally. Yeah, and she knows that. They were not talked before, but she was always, our best friend has always been the conduit. If we had any type of issues with it, then, my best friend, we could talk to her, because she's not biased with me. She did her the perspective. I don't know. It's just confusing. Like, really. So I've done really research something, sitting with my thoughts, and her, speaking to myself, and kind of sitting in it, um, not trying to do it or avoid the feelings, actually feeling them for what they are, and kind of processing through the root of some of my feelings. Like, is this attachment actually her, or what is it rooted in? Do I really really love her like I say, like it feels, or is this more of an attachment wound where old old issues or old patterns that I've had in the past are snowballing or compounded, and I'm feeling the weight of that. So I think it's a little bit of both, as I'm going through. The DJ, the music, yeah. I've used that, the breathing, I tend to I've gone on my walks. I'll listen to scriptures. A lot of what I've been doing is going back to the Bible, and like, what is God, and the relationship that I have with Jesus, how you know he says that he's there for me. And it's just reading and reaffirming things that those voids that I feel like I've missed or that I have. If I continue to seek them out in women, I will repeat a pattern. And that's I use women to regulate. I have to be able to sit with myself because if I can't figure this out, I will forever abandon myself in relationships whenever I get triggered or I feel like, oh, she doesn't want me. If I don't heal this wound, I'll continue looking for validation, external validation, and that's not a life of a leader. That's not a life of a comprehensive man. That's not a life of the man that I want to be. I want to be able to be present. I want to be able to get through emotional moments that are difficult. Because I think if I continue to seek external validation, I won't become the man who can lead a relationship and who can provide a place of safety for the woman that's supposed to be in my life. So,
Yes. Okay. Okay. That sounds really, focused on the priorities that you have in your life and, the relationship that you have with your God. That sounds like it's the most important relationship that you want to prioritize and, being able to also follow the values and the principles that are aligned with the person that you're becoming and the person that you are currently. Those are also important aspects of your healing process. And the part that I'm noticing is that you're trying to. It seems like from what you're saying, it seems like you're trying to not, like you said, not trying to, abandon yourself, not trying to replay past patterns and, kind of trying to break that loop
yeah,
and allowing yourself to really, instead of trying to subconsciously maybe trying to exert some type of control over the wounds, the traumas that, resulted in your wounds,
yeah,
that you're trying to get a different outcome, somehow by, going back to this relationship and kind of trying to read and interpret things that are happening, which that can be really hard to do, by the way, especially if she's kind of, like you said, circling your universe, and trying to still be a part of it in some way. And so that can be really hard to do, but you're trying to stay grounded and centered
right.
on
I'm trying to integrate it.
not.
What is the word? Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
integrate it, and it's I'm finding myself at moments I get frustrated or I feel like it's not fair, and that's the part that I'm coming to grips with is that I can't control anybody else but myself. And there's still, there's a desire. Like I want to make amends and but it's like I can't even say anything because you got me blocked. And then it's like it feels like it's every her healing is on her terms, which of it actually is. There's nothing that I can do on that. But I'm having to kind of be like a silent bystander and just kind of take it. Um,
Well, you're a little bit more than just a bystander, right? Like, given that you've had this long-term relationship with her and that you have love for her, so it's like you're loving her from a distance,
yeah,
and allowing her to figure things out herself and not reacting to the attempts that she is making to, connect with your best friend or to, her family's connection to your social media, all of that can get really confusing, but you're choosing to separate, her, what she's doing to heal on her own path from your own healings. And it's really hard, but it's really consistent, sort of a consistent effort on your end to not allow that part of you that wants to take care of her and take care of what's going on and try to, make amends, like you said, to fix the problem or the situation. Because there's nothing that you can do at this time, right? That can fix her feelings about
There's not, and then the other part that I struggle with is that I know if I was ever to get back with her, it's still things that I had issues with that never were discussed. You know what I mean? And it's like it almost gives off this like I'm always in the hot seat. I'm always the villain. I feel, and it's like nah, hold on. There's some things that I asked for or that I wanted to get addressed, and because my issues always seem to be ballooned and amplified. Like so, infidelity is not a small thing, but there's some things that led up to these things that never were even able to be discussed. I remember in our therapy sessions, our therapist was a young girl. Like I could tell she probably was in her maybe late 20s, early 30s, if that. And I could tell she barely been in relationships because with her, everything was so scholastic and by the book. There was no experience behind it, and so everything was so cookie cutter. And in that, I try to be non-biased, but I think those moments of when the infidelity came out, it was like, all right, scrap what we were talking about. We got to deal with this. I think it was a more patch up the biggest hole and then reverse engineer everything. So those thoughts I battle with as well, and that's where I'm really at is giving myself grace and understanding of like you remind me often to give myself grace, and I'm trying to do that as much as I can. All the while taking responsibility and accountability for the fracture of the relationship and just my role in a lot of the negative things that have happened in my own life. Um, so yeah, that kind of sums up where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a lot. You're in the midst of a lot right now. You're in the midst of a lot, and it's a sort of all these growing pains that you're having along the way, right? Like trying to sort through, what's real and then what's authentic and what's you and then what's the old you and then what's the new you and the current you. It's a lot to sort through. It can be very tiring to work through.
It is.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing in terms of the whole giving yourself, the compassion and the grace and the kindness that you would say, your best friend or someone else?
That's harder for me because I'm the oldest. I've always been the responsible one who's had depression. It's hard for me to even consider myself first. The other parts of me are like, I can get stuff done. I'm learning how to take my hands off of things because I don't want to. I think when you overthink and you try to have your hands and everything, that is a silent form or some form of manipulation, and I don't want to have that feeling. So I'm doing it. It's hard, but I'm trying. I'll say that, but to give myself grace because I always have this person in my ear or his voice. You're not doing it. You kind of ignore it. I'm trying to quiet that voice.
So it's like you're trying to allow yourself to say what Jesus can reveal.
Yeah,
So anytime that you're not doing that, anytime you're listening to the voice on your shoulder to exert more control, trying to generate some more solutions
right.
or new ideas to try to fix or resolve this problem. It's getting in the way of your trust in God, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
and
kind
the
of
trust in myself. That's the other part of it. Because God is within. At the end of the day, I'm the common denominator. I live every moment of my life with myself, and I do have to get myself because it's not sustainable. The route that I'm taking from hard of myself. It's spiritually draining. It's stressful. It starts to raise your cortisol levels, like you guys. It's not good, and I'm learning. It's not easy.
it's an uphill battle sometimes, right? To try to slow things down and to calm and reassure your nervous system that it's okay not to take action, it's okay to sit back, it's okay to just be and exist for now, it's okay to breathe. And it's hard to slow things down, but maybe part you got this part of you that wants to fix, do, resolve, take action, and maybe think about that that you can have on your shoulder to balance.
Yeah,
On your shoulder, the Jason that wants to take things slower, wants to breathe, wants to sit with the process and to allow the process to work itself out and to focus more on your values and your priorities versus kind of following your impulses or following old patterns ways of thinking. So, um, yeah, what would you name that part of you? What would you name that part that is trying to be more centered and grounded?
that's the reflective part of me. What would I name it? I don't know. I think it's just the grounded Jason. There was a time when I was all grounded, like I wasn't moving. That was when I was younger. I think I've been writing this book, which is crazy, and it's kind of I'm getting all of these old thoughts and memories out. And the Jason that I was opposite polarities. One Jason wasn't moving fast enough; he just wasn't moving at all. And I was younger, adolescent, teenage Jason, and then as I became an adult, I went into the military, and then got to the Air Force and experienced some things, and now it's the anxious anxiety. Always got to be doing something, and I'm trying to find that middle balance. Was there a time frame? Actually, I know it was a time frame. It was before I had an experience in the military. You know, I think the military brought on a lot of my anxiety, like seriously, where I just have to be moving. Um, and it was like probably my tech school or right when I got stationed in Vegas. Because before then, I felt a sense of accomplishment. Going to basic training, finishing that. Because before then, I wasn't really motivated. I was like a straight A student all the way through high school, and then something happened with my mom, and I just didn't have any more motivation because I think I was trying to do everything to get her attention, and she never came. And I just stopped caring after that. And my dad noticed it, um, and I took the ASVAB just on a whim because I was doing the SATs and everything else, and program that I was in was like, take this test too. And I scored extremely high, and I wasn't gonna go to the military. My dad was like, "You're going." So once I finished basic, I felt very accomplished. Went to my tech school, felt accomplished. Came to Vegas, felt accomplished, and then experienced the most extreme racism I had ever experienced in my life. And then I think that just made me very anxious. And I was around 23, 24. So I'm realizing this is where I'm at now is probably I'm fighting for the balance of both phases of my life because I'm 43 now. So I'm trying the word is integrate both personalities, because as you said, one, I definitely need to slow down, but there is also a need for the driven person, the ambitious guy, or the person who's taking care of business because I have a son to raise, and I have these responsibilities. So wow, I think that's the new me that I'm becoming, not trying, but that is the new me that I'm becoming. Is merging those two worlds together.
Okay, so being integrated and kind of blending in both so that you can, draw on the strength of each in different situations, scenarios, circumstances, and, have certain aspects of or certain parts of each of these characters or these persons on you that maybe need to step back and to be held back a little bit in certain situations, right?
Yeah.
And trying to figure out when those situations call for the more take action, be quick and be decisive and somewhat impulsive sometimes. You sometimes have to be impulsive to get results. And so, in times when you have to let that part of you that is wanting to slow things down a little bit and allow the process to unfold and transpire before you take more action. So it's about learning who you are really in essence, right?
Yeah.
Like who you want to be and who you were before and who you are now and who you want to be going forward. Now tell me about this book. When is this book that you're writing?
Okay, so it's called The First Goodbye, and it's me kind of chronicling my life with the abandonment issues where they began. It's kind of like I just started writing it through this whole healing process, and um, I'm up to. I haven't quite got up to where I am now. I'm up to an experience that I had with an ex. So that was probably at 30, 33. But I mean, it's amazing so far. I've let so many people read it and they're crying and bawling. They're like, I never knew that you went through all of that. But it goes from, you know, the initial abandonment of my mom leaving, um, some traumatic experiences that happened along the way, um, the things that became norms for me, which are not normal. Having to be the oldest, take care of everybody, um, people pleasing to get the validation, abandoning myself in order to help others. All of these things come out in the book. And I'm at probably about 20 chapters, and ultimately it's probably going to be a 200-page book, and I plan on finishing it by my birthday, which is February 20th. I'm well ahead of schedule right now.
That's great. Yeah, so that's coming up in a month, less than a month. So is it kind of a reflection of your your experiences and the lessons
The
that
lessons
you
I've
learned
learned,
along the way.
yeah. So I've done research on the mother wound and motherless sons. There's not much research on it. I've looked and I've searched, and I realized maybe my story and me being transparent about the things that I battle, the esteem issues, of course, the validation, the abandonment, maybe it can shed light, and some more people are going to be willing to talk about it, and maybe even research it and see the effect that it has on adult men. Because I know a lot of men who were abandoned by their mothers. Like I know a lot of men who have my story, but we're not able to talk about it. Like I know a lot of men, young men who become taken advantage of by older women. When I was younger, I always dealt with older women, and I mean like 10 years older than me. I'm 19 dealing with 30-year-olds, and 17 dealing with, I'm underage dealing with grown women, and not understanding, for boys, that's not looked at as predatory, but that's very much predatory. Um, and a lot of the women were emotionally manipulative, and I didn't understand it because I felt like I didn't have the tools or the understanding, and I felt like I was left open for manipulation. People can see when, just like how these older men can see a young woman and take full advantage and groom her into sex trafficking or whatever, older women are doing the same thing, and we're doing the same thing to me emotionally, and I didn't know. So I know that by writing this book, it's going to help. It's going to bring to light from a practical standpoint the effects that the abandonment has, and especially in this new era where a lot more women are working, a lot more women are not necessarily in the nurturing role. The roles are kind of fluid now, and where in the past, where traditionally the woman would nurture, a lot of people are dealing with the maternal abandonment.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot out there about,
The
girls
father,
that grow up to have absent or, abusive or neglectful fathers, but there's not as much out there about boys that grow up without a mother present or, either physically or emotionally present, or both. And so I think there's some type of I don't know if it's biases or sort of the secrecy that happens when we think about the vulnerabilities that men have, right? Like it's okay for a woman to have been traumatized or shaped by her family of origin, but when we think about men, there's sort of this almost shaming that happens when you think about oh, well, what happened when you were a child, when you didn't know any better, when you didn't have someone there to guide you and to love you and to support you and to make you feel like you have a safety net. Of course, you're going to seek it out in older women that resemble, some or are symbolic of a mother or some kind of maternal role. So yeah, there's that sense of shame and secrecy that sometimes happens, and so by you opening up about that and being willing to bring that to light and to share that with others, I think that's going to do a lot of good to allow other people to be able to connect with that and to really explore that on their own experiences.
Because it does create a lot of it's like a breach in connection. A lot of men, when they have that abandonment, they can't connect with women, and they become quote unquote womanizers or cheaters, or all of these things. And so many times they get villainized, but they never get down to the root. And a lot of men aren't able to figure that out because there's no real research, or there's nobody's talking about it. Like it's more like you're a cheater, and it's like, hold up, let me figure out why I feel like I need this validation. What's the root of it? And for me, that's where this book comes into place, and it has been healing. It's been very healing and very eye opening, and I hope that it's going to be able to help some young boys coming up behind me, and that uh, we can bring back the family because I'm noticing in America, it's not just black people. It's like families are being dismantled. It's almost like everybody just wants to be for themselves, and they don't see the purpose of functional families. Or yeah, it's just weird.
And when did you start this book?
The first week of January, I went on a fast. I went on a 7-day fast, where it was a no food fast and water, and I prayed. I just prayed every day, all day. I stopped posting on social media, and I just went introspective, and that gave me the time to start. Because there was this lady on YouTube, some Kate Van Dyke or something like that, where she does this exercise of meditation where you start it's focused meditation, and then you bring up these core memories that you have, and you picture your child version of who you are, and you go back and you speak to the child version. You have a conversation and you apologize, and you validate the inner child that's in you, because nobody else has come to do it, and only you can do that. And so piece by piece, memory by memory, I just started doing that, and then I started writing it, and the rest is history.
Wow, I love that. That's awesome that you're able to tap into the needs that you had, when you were a kid, and also right now the healing that needs to happen in order for you to move forward. Now, you said you started writing this January of this year or last year?
January of this year. Well, it's always been something that I wanted to do, but I stopped procrastinating and just started writing, and it has been amazing. And then I've been able to put some of my thoughts into ChatGPT, and it's given even more verbiage and just giving it more color, and that just motivated me to keep going. So.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Well, you're looking at finishing up in about a month or less than a month.
Yes.
So, gosh, that's that fast moving, ambitious, go get it kind of Jason, right?
Yeah. Once I get it, once I'm on. Sometimes my motor, it takes a long time for it to happen. I'll procrastinate and just be like, whatever. I'm telling you, that's the yin and the yang of me. And that's what I've had to, when we were talking about impulse. That's what you hit it on the head in not being able to emotionally regulate myself in those moments of being triggered and feeling abandoned. That's when I become impulsive. When it's almost like when my back is against the wall, that's when I realized, when you said that, it made everything make sense. Because even in my life, that's what I've been motivated by. When everything is falling apart, that's when I go. Or when it's almost like my feet are to the fire, that's when I go. And that's not always healthy, because when you make decisions based on that, you do things like cheat or say things that you shouldn't say, and for me, that's what I'm paying attention to. I'm so grateful I don't stop taking that. Anti-anxiety and depression medicine, I feel like that was the worst, and I stopped drinking. So that has helped with the impulsive decisions. So I think I'm gonna keep that away and stay on this course that I'm on.
Yeah, because you were chemicals that were doling you, right? And part of that doling is resistance or push back when your back is against the wall, and that's when the acting out happens, and you're seeking that, so, and it act out, they're looking for gentleness, they're looking for love and support, right? The expressions that they're give them versus the harshness of, say, a girlfriend that is betrayed or angry, and hurt. And so it is so natural to do that. But when you take away the chemicals, like with the alcohol, then it allows you to be more clear and and authentic in your experiences, and figuring out what's needed and what's going on. So
Yeah, you just said something that gave verbiage to what I think I was looking for in my relationship. I was looking for gentleness. Just someone to handle me gentle and not with the tough love that I get from everybody. I get tough. I've been raised with tough love. Either tough love or no love at all. So I didn't even know how to articulate that. And I think what I'm feeling right now is regret because I'm able to, I'm discovering all of these things, and it's like, I think if I'd been able to tell her, maybe I would have been able to save the relationship, but damn, this it sucks. Because I think she might have been willing if I would have had the verbiage for it, but I didn't know how to say, why stop yelling at, rather than saying like, why are you always yelling at me? Like yada yada. I didn't know how to say, can you just be gentle with me? I didn't know how to say that. That's what I needed. I almost feel like because I was so used to it, I was trying to navigate my way through the harshness and try to prove. And that's where the performative. That's what I get into in the book as well. Being performative and feeling like I have to earn love.
then you have to be tough, and you have to take the harshness, because that's what you learned was love, right? There's no alternatives, but it worked when you were younger in terms of keeping you in line, and making sure you graduated, and making sure you went on a path that was good for you. But as you got older, you realized you needed more. You needed something else. What's kind of up for you right now in terms of how you're feeling, Jason? What's leveling up for you? Because it seems like you're really feeling emotional right
I think it's like I said, I think it's the regret of it. It's feeling like that was what I always wanted to articulate. I think that was the issue in the relationship. And the more I'm talking about it, I don't know if she was even capable of being the gentle type of love that I needed to experience because of her own experiences. And I'm realizing that's the type of love that I want. And it's crazy because all the information that I'm getting is like treat your woman gentle, treat your woman gentle. So at times it's like I reject that because that's how women should be treated as gentle. But it's like I never experienced that in my life. I don't know what gentle love feels like. Like I've never had that experience. Like, oh, you fell? You okay? Come here, or you're hurting. I'm sorry, or even in my relationship, like, hey, that hurt my feelings. It wasn't like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, it was more like, well, you did this, and this is why I think that's what I've been searching for, and I think that's what's bringing the emotion is that I always feel sorry for myself, and I can't feel sorry for myself because I'm not a kid anymore. But I think it's a grief of the experience I never got to.
Yeah, it's a sense of sadness and loss for what you had wanted and needed, but you were not able to get, and didn't really know how to ask for, because that's not something that you were wired to hardwired to be able to ask for, right? Because society doesn't tell men to ask to be gently held or gently comforted or gently bonded to. Society doesn't tell us to do that, and we kind of expected to be in the opposite. And if you grew up in a family that didn't, give that out and didn't model that behavior, it's kind of hard to know that that's what you deserve and that's what you need. And so by allowing yourself this time to kind of think about what it is that you have lost, and grieve over it, and be sad about it, and to feel the sorrow for the little kid that didn't have what he needed. And you're honoring who you are as a person in the past, as well as the person that you're trying to become. Because if you just kind of, skip, rush past all of this process, then there's still a part of you that hasn't healed and doesn't really know what it is that you're seeking.
Yeah.
I love that you're able to notice, what's going on with your body and what's going on with your heart and your mind at the same time. Instead of becoming overwhelmed and dysregulated, you're able to kind of slow things down and allow the logical and the rational mind to kind of that part of you, the side, sorry, I'm trying to remember which side is what, to kind of, be blended in with the part of you that was wanting to kind of blow past all of this, or to kind of push forward and move on. Well, let's suck it up and get going, kind of thing. And so I love that you're able to loss and the sadness that you feel. I hope you can take some time out before our next visit to be able to do this as well, to allow yourself a time to honor and nourish the part of you that wasn't able to. Just like, you do that for your inner child, your younger self. It's important to do that for your current self as well.
Trying to learn how to do that. Because I can do that for everybody else, but not myself. So,
Jason, I'm sorry, I lost you. You said you're trying to learn how to do that, and then I lost you.
I said, yeah,
Froze.
I do that for everybody else. I'm learning, trying to learn how to do it for myself.
Yeah, and learning that you deserve to have this love for yourself, right?
Yeah.
To pour the love to others when you don't have love for yourself. So, okay. Well, gosh, we've covered a lot of ground today. And I'm really glad that you have a project going that allows you to kind of journal and chronicle, and to get your thoughts and your emotions out. And I'm looking forward to finding out that you're done with it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I'll let you read it. You'll be one of the first I send it to.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I hope you honor to be able to get my hands on that, to see what it is that you've been through. Because I know we talk a lot about your experiences, but I know there's also, gaps in your history that can be helpful to kind of inform the work that we're doing as well, and just to understand you more as a human being. So, let me see here. Do we already have an appointment scheduled for you?
For February. Okay. Yeah, we're good. I think
all right, sounds.
I think we're doing February. I think you had pre-made it because you're gonna be out for like a week or so.
Hold on a second, I'm not in your insurance right now, so let me log in and make sure. I don't. Yeah, because okay, yeah, I see. We do have some appointments scheduled already, so we can, kind of review what we need to pre-schedule at a later time. So I think we're good for now. So, all right, sounds good. Anything else we need to talk about or address this morning, Jason?
No, I think I'm trying to figure out if I even want to ask. A part of me wants to know what my ex is asking about, but I don't know if that's conducive for me moving forward. What do you think?
What my answer should be is, you need to come up with your own answer on this.
Okay.
But I think you know your own answer, right? That if you reached out to others to try to figure out what's going on with your ex and trying to figure out what her ego is or what she's after, maybe just reassurance that maybe she won't really do anything or. But isn't that the part of you that is seeking that validation again, right? That you're worthy of her love, you're worthy of her efforts, you're worthy of her to look back and try to get back into your life. So do we want that part of you to be reactivated and to take over? We want the part of you that letting her say what she says and mean what she says versus trying to kind of
Fix it.
try to force things in a way that fits the need that you have to feel like you're worthy and deserving of her attention and love. So, but yeah, all of that you've said already, so I'm not cheating here. I'm telling you what you already know.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah,
thank you for the reminder. Yeah, thank you for the reminder.
All right. Of course. That's what I'm here for. All right, Jason, well, you take good care of yourself, and I'll see you at your next appointment, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, take care, bye.
Because you got me inspired. That's how you think you play.